All right. So, as I mentioned, my name is Jonathan Jones. I'm happy to be your host and moderator for this afternoon or this evening or whatever time it is where you are. As you can see from our opening screen there, this is a declaration of war. It's a war against visceral fat. So, we're fighting something that is fighting you. And whether we were aware of it or not, that is one of the most deadliest things that we're carrying around because it's not just a cute thing. It's not just a little bit of stubborn belly fat. You're going to learn here in just a couple of minutes that that visceral fat is metabolically alive and actively seeking to do you harm. It is not at all your friend. It is not at all interested in you being well. It's very much interested in its own interest. It's only focused in on what's good for itself and not at all focused in on what's good for you. So we're going to show you some simple ways to get control of visceral fat. Now, whichever parts of this you decide to do is going to be completely up to you. Right now, today is about telling you some of the science, some of the details about what's exactly involved in visceral fat, what it's doing, and the specific area that we're focusing on today is the connection between visceral fat and insulin. There's a direct link between the two. And so you're going to get an earful about that here in just a minute. Okay, so let me share the screen now again, and let's get started with our slide presentation. Write down your questions, folks. So, because you may have some, and this discussion is going to be a little bit more informal because it's a lot about science. So this is not about let's move along so it's exciting. We're not going to go through a whole lot of testimonials. That's not what this session is about. This session is about coming away with understanding what visceral fat is, the harm that it's doing, why you should care about it, and why every single person on the planet, well, let's start with the United States. Every single person in the United States should be concerned about this. That's what we're talking about now. Now, before I go on into the whole details of this, you notice on this opening slide here, we're talking about an insulin connection. Insulin, of course, is directly connected to the thought of diabetes. In this country, we're talking about 1/3 of the population in the United States that's either diabetic or pre-diabetic. 1/3. That's an enormous number of people. And so every single one of us, I'm going to just tell you, just honestly, I had no idea that I fell into the category of needing to do something about metabolic syndrome myself. It can be happening and you're not even aware that it's happening to your body. I had no idea. I didn't know where I was going until just this past month or so. I've been able to get rid of about 3 inches off my waist. And so I'm directly in the midst of attacking visceral fat or adipose fat. So I'm consuming it, burning it off. So this is right now not guesswork. It's not theoretical. This is real. It can happen and you can come along for the ride. So all I'm doing now is passing on to you what I have personally put into place myself. Understand something, though, that we by law have to tell you that the FDA has not evaluated the statements that I'm making. No one has given me this information. I did the research myself. I use AI extensively. I have AI do a ton of the research, and I have AI do a lot of compiling things. I tell it what I want, and then I put that together and make sure that it's presented properly, and then I confirm it. I do fact checking, and AI is very good at helping you to do fact checking. And it shortens up the time for the research and actually shortens the time for being able to put together these presentations as well. So that's the other beautiful part about it. So you may hear some testimonials like me just sharing with you my personal testimonial. Testimonials are anecdotal. Results are atypical. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. Neither the Healthcare Support Association of America, Engage Global, Dr. Prasad, Jonathan Jones, nor any of the authorized representatives, hosts, or co-hosts are making claims that any of the supplements that we will talk about will treat or cure any disease state. Only the government can declare a nutritional supplement to be a treatment or cure for disease. This presentation is for information and educational purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for a visit to your doctor. We strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. And please know for the record, I am not a medical doctor. I have been a practitioner now for probably about 25 or 30 years. I've lost track. And I'm determined. I do help as many people as I possibly can. I give them direction on what they can do. And all of my clients are happy with the results that they're getting. I see somebody on YouTube. By the way, thank you all on YouTube for joining us. We appreciate your presence, and I understand your statement there on YouTube. Someone says there the only problem with declaring war is that you might lose. I can tell you with 100% certainty that in this case, anyone who wants to win can. The only persons who will lose in this war against visceral fat are the ones who do choose to not join the war. I can tell you that for a fact. And you will see that yourself, because this is something that anybody can win. Now, it's about being aware of very specific pieces of science that's going on inside our body. For example, the slide that we're looking at right now, at one point in time, most of us probably just thought fat was fat. On the left side, you see subcutaneous fat. Now, subcutaneous fat is the kind of fat that just hovers around just below the skin. So it's kind of a softer, cushy, squishy kind of fat. It can be on the thighs, it can be on the hips, it can be around the belly as well. Its primary purpose is to store energy, and it's all about insulation. You find yourself, I remember once I used to swim a lot. I still love swimming. I just don't have the time to do it as much as I used to. And I had a pool right outside my patio door at the time. Now I got to go through a process to get to a pool. So, but when I lost some weight one time, I remember suddenly the water felt colder than it had been before. Nothing had changed. I just lost a layer of insulation. So that's the primary purpose for subcutaneous fat. Now, it puts out some energy, but it's inert. So it's harmless. There's nothing harmful or bioactive in particular about subcutaneous fat. On the other hand, look on the right side of the screen. Visceral fat is completely different. It's deep in the abdomen. It's wrapping around vital organs. This is something that has latched onto your body like a leech. It's dangerous, and it itself behaves like an active organ. Now, can you imagine that? Just wrap your mind around that for a second. Visceral fat is behaving in our bodies like an active organ itself. As far as the danger level is concerned, it is a severe metabolic threat. And I'm not using hyperbole here. Since I've started focusing on this, I have come to the realization that this is a very serious problem. I've spoken to doctors and others, and everyone sees the same level of concern. And I don't care how much research you do it out on the internet or anyplace else, there are many scientists and doctors talking about the dangers of visceral fat. So, but now it is for real. Systemic output, constant release of hormones and inflammatory substances that attack blood vessels and drive insulin resistance. Inflammatory substances. Remember, Dr. Prasad would always talk about inflammatory cytokines. Well, that's kind of what we're talking about here. And I was having a conversation with someone just a couple of days ago about this BMI. And don't be fooled by BMI. There are a lot of professionals out there who think that the BMI is flawed. And even AI, when I just ask it outright, what do you think about BMI? I think it can be inaccurate, because a person can be a certain height and they can have muscle that puts them in the range of being having a bad BMI, being obese. They could be declared obese when they're not. For example, at my height, 5'10", my weight should be somewhere between 150 something and 174. If I was down to 174, I would look anorexic because, for years I was athletic. So I played a lot of basketball. So, and I pumped a lot of weight. So a lot of the weight that I pumped was with my legs because I was only 5'10" and I wanted to jump high. If I went back down to 174 pounds now, I would literally look somewhat anorexic. So when you don't have a lot of muscle, yeah, no, that can tell the story. But that's not the point here. The point here is that a person can appear to be thin and have a so-called normal BMI, but they could be carrying around fatal and very harmful amounts of hidden visceral fat. It still could be happening. They could look normal and look like everything is fine. So the diagnostic tool that you want to do is measure the circumference of your waist, not at the skinny part, but for some at the top of the hips is the right spot, but for most it really is right across the belly button. So you measure there, and that could be revealing how much visceral fat that you're carrying. For women, the danger zone is if that measurement is greater than 35 inches. And for men, the danger zone is if that measurement is greater than or equal to 40 inches. So you want to get that number down, but that tells you more than just your BMI. So, so here's the slide that to me kind of reveals a lot of the dangers that we need to be thinking about. So the title of it is The Insulin Trap Locks the Body in an Endless Fat Storage Loop. And insulin fat storage loop, endless fat storage loop. When the body is storing fat and never burning it, that's where it gets packed in as visceral fat. What triggers it? It starts with the diet. So right now, the food that we eat is loaded with refined carbohydrates, industrial starches, and seed oils. Now, most of us are aware that some of these things are not so good. Carbohydrates, especially empty carbohydrates. There was a gentleman that wrote a book years ago, and the title of it was The Whiter the Bread, the Quicker You're Dead. So the process that's done to carbohydrates is fairly deadly. Gluten is bad all by itself, but the concern is the industrial starches that's hidden there. If you're not familiar with maltodextrin, do a little research on it. But maltodextrin has been kind of added into a lot of things. It behaves in the body just like a sugar, but the government does not require that it be labeled as sugar. So you can have, in fact, I had tried this about 3-4 weeks ago. Maybe it was about a month or so ago. I had those tortilla chips, the big bag of tortilla chips that you can just buy. I had a small bowl of those, and sure enough, I had a glucose spike. I'm not diabetic, by the way, but I know that I had a glucose spike because of the effect it had on me and my weight loss at the time. And I had never really looked at them, and I'm ashamed to say it because I had not been doing a lot of reading of the labels, but there was maltodextrin in tortilla chips. What's the purpose of maltodextrin in tortilla chips? They shove it in everything. It's in candy bars. It's in where there's already sugar. But what it is it increases the amount of spikes to your glucose. So all it's got to do is spike it. Once it spikes it and doesn't come down, now the body goes into a vicious cycle. That triggers this constant grazing, because now when the body starts locking everything you eat away as fat and not burning it up as fuel, you want to eat because now you feel like you need to eat. What you just ate does not get consumed or burnt up as fuel. As soon as your body processes it, it goes into fat reserves. Your body processes it, it goes into fat reserves. So now you find yourself snacking, and insulin levels keep going up. All of that's messing with the liver. So this on the bottom there, you see the padlock. High insulin physically locks the body in a fat storage loop, completely blocking access to burn stored visceral fat cells. So I think that process is called lipolysis. I think we have a slide coming up on that in here in just a minute. But that's the basic wheel that's taking place here. You never feel satisfied. Cravings intensify. So it all started with what we ate. We're eating food that we think is food, besides the fact that it doesn't have the nutrients in it, because we talk about that a lot. And that's the reason why this basic conference has been born on Sundays, is because we've been alerting everyone that someone took the food out of food. And micronutrients is the food that's missing from food. So the food that we're eating, not only is it missing nutrients, it's got these hidden triggers in it. It's got these hidden triggers. Oh, and I didn't even say anything about high fructose corn syrup. But carbohydrates, industrial starches, seed oils, all of those should be stricken from our diet. In fact, they should be labeled as poison. And that's just my personal opinion now. So I don't want to get flagged by YouTube or anything like that. And I don't want you guys to start feeling a certain kind of way, but that's just my opinion. Those things should be labeled as poison. So if you want to do yourself some good, identify them and remove them from your diet. So that's what triggers the problem. Our body gets flipped into a perpetual state of storing what we think is food, what is produced as fat. It packs it away instead of burning it as fuel. The science of it is this thing called TRPBR2. That's a molecule that actively jams your fat burning mechanisms. Take a screenshot of this, do the research if you want to. And the bottom line is there's a part of our cells, the endoplasmic reticulum. That's what's supposed to be producing proteins. So as we eat, you need to be making more proteins. Proteins is what is the building block of everything good in our body. But instead of producing more proteins, that part of the cell gets overrun and gets stressed out. And once it's stressed out, it's not making more proteins. Then there's GATA, GATA3, and TRPBR2, that kicks into place. And that once that TRPBR2 is in place, that translates into stopping the cells from burning. So that blocks lipolysis. Lipolysis is simply the process of burning fat as fuel. All that fat gets trapped, and the visceral fat starts sending out inflammatory cytokines. So inflammation. So it's not just storing subcutaneous fat, it's packing it away as visceral fat. Remember, visceral fat behaves like a deadly organ. It's metabolically alive. And as long as it's shooting out harmful cytokines, the immune system is confused. It's sending out signals to do something when there's nothing that can be done about it. But those harmful, deadly cytokines are actually doing more harm in the body. So now imagine this switch that you're looking at right here as being a big switch that's on your liver. It can be in one of two modes. It can be flipped into the fat storage mode, or it can be flipped into the fat burning mode. That's called ketosis. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about intermittent fasting. Don't get hung up on the phrase intermittent fasting. It's all about putting that lever, moving it from the fat storage mode into the fat burning mode. That's it. You just need to move that lever. You got to flip it. And the way to flip it is intermittent fasting. Now, intermittent fasting gives the digestive system the break that it needs, because once that wheel is in motion where we're eating all the time because we're never satisfied, we don't get any real food, no nutrients are coming along. And what we are eating is messing up our liver and spiking insulin and forcing this switch into the fat storage mode. Just keep that picture, that switch right there in your mind. When that lever is put up in the fat storage mode, that's packing away visceral fat. Now, this is not to put any one of us or embarrass us, because I told you what's happening to me. I've just recently knocked off 3 inches of visceral fat right off my gut. And that's an absolute fact. So, but look down right now. If you see something you don't like, it's because that lever right there is in the fat storage mode. If you're here today, it's because you want to know how to move it into the fat burning position. Now, without the insulin padlock, metabolic pathways are forced to shift out of storage mode and switch over into the fat burning mode or ketosis, breaking the whole biological cycle. Okay, so just pause a minute. The statement that moved this that flipped the switch is the intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting. Go through a period where the body is in this has got to be done safely. And so we're not talking about just going into starvation, because if you go into starvation, that that locks that lever up even more so. If you go into starvation mode, that lever sends a signal to your brain that says this fool is trying to starve me. Everything that comes along, store it away. So there's a right way to do this, and there's a very wrong way to do this. All right. So we're going to be talking about the right way to do this. And remember, the whole goal of this is to make sure that these inflammatory cytokines are also not doing harm. So I'm going to back up just for 1 second. One of the main things you want to do is flip the switch in the other direction. And by the way, this is where GLP-1 boost comes into play, because intermittent fasting is not just a matter of willpower. It's not just a matter of feeling satisfied. We need help. We need help because you don't just all of a sudden stop craving sugar, and it's not your fault. So please don't think that anyone is pointing a finger if we happen to have excess body fat on it. This is not about shaming. This is not about that's a bad thing for you. It's all about health. That's all I'm talking about here. The way someone looks, we're not in the fat shaming business. None of this is about that. This is all about improving our health, and that's it. Okay, so but it's not your fault. It's not your fault because the food that we're eating has pretty much sabotaged us and made this happen to us, because you had no control over the fact that someone has been putting industrial starch, in places where it shouldn't be. You have no control over the fact that fructose has been added in to places where it's not necessary. I'll give you one example, by the way. If you let's take a soda, for example. I just saw this recently, this illustration. You can take a can of Fanta purchased here in the United States and compare it to a can of Fanta purchased over in London or anywhere over in Europe. And there's a major difference. One of them, the one here in the States, has like 10 times the amount of sugar in it than the one sold overseas. 10 times the amount. Plus, it's got fructose in it and other things. And it's got other chemicals in it that aren't needed because they're not in the one sold over in England. In fact, the one sold in England actually has real fruit juice in it, not the one sold here in this country. So a lot of the things that we eat here in this country is sabotaging our health, is creating this problem. So what can we do? Trapped visceral fat generates massive, continuous cellular inflammation and oxidative stress. Now, if I was to ask for some comments on what could take care of inflammation and oxidative stress, I guarantee you at least 50% of the people on this conference right now, and I think we have about 70 or 80 connections right now, something like that, which means that it's maybe about 150 people could be here now, but about half would know right away that if you take Dr. Prasad's formula, high dose antioxidants, that is now labeled as micro daily. It started out as a product called MMF. If you take that, it triggers NRF2. In fact, if you look in the science brochure, there's several products in Dr. Prasad's formula that activates the NRF2 pathway. That NRF2 pathway is critical. It's critically important to calming inflammation and oxidative stress. Now, oxidative stress and is one of the things that reduces insulin sensitivity, because those beta receptors on the pancreas need insulin to go in there to turn the cell on to allow glucose to go in so glucose can be used. Oxidative stress can stop the insulin from going in properly and turning that key. It's like a key trying to go into a rusty lock. If you put a key into a rusty lock, you can't turn it, and it won't allow entry. So oxidative stress does that. But raising glutathione levels, using antioxidants, gets rid of the oxidative stress, neutralizes it, and allows the body to calm itself down and function metabolically correctly. Now, I mentioned to you a minute ago, when it comes to this intermittent fasting thing, hold on, let's cover that last box there. Mechanism of action simultaneously lowers chronic cellular inflammation and rapidly neutralizes oxidative stress generated by toxic belly fat. So what I just said is still very true, but in the context of what we're talking about right now, visceral fat is sending out these toxic cytokines. It's metabolically alive and doing harm to your body. The components in microdaily is like putting a fire extinguisher on it. So there's flames, but there's now microdaily, that one by itself does a great deal toward calming that down and stopping the cytokines and the fire that's burning like a nuclear furnace from that visceral fat. You may not even be aware that this is all happening. Most of us have no clue. I didn't know that this was killing me. So, but I know now. And mind you, now, all of this was happening, and probably the only thing that's been slowing it down and keeping it at bay has been the fact that I've been on high doses of microdaily for a long time. I've at least been taking the chronic doses for quite some time. And I know that it's been helping because, the pain in my toe, my knee, and, all these other things, all that stuff has been under control and all that's great. But clearly, it can't do everything because microdaily wasn't designed to get rid of visceral fat. So it was controlling the aftermath. It was controlling the fire. It was like a fire extinguisher that the visceral fat was causing. So it was a fire extinguisher and keeping it under control. But the root of the problem is still a visceral fat. So now you're going to be able to get better to the visceral fat. Now, here's the downside of this matter of GLP-1, because GLP-1 is what tells your body that you're satisfied, and our bodies naturally produce GLP-1. So our body's been hijacked by the food that we're eating. So even if you get to a point where you're satisfied or you're trying to get satisfied, that doesn't last very long. Our body's producing enzymes that destroy our natural signal that says we're satisfied. Not only that, they've engineered into some of the foods, blocking the release of another enzyme called CCK that also tells you that you're satisfied. So there's all kinds of things happening, blocking us from having a feeling of I'm not hungry. That's it, just feeling satisfied that I don't need to eat. So there's chemicals taking place inside our body that's causing that to happen. So on the top of this screen, you see that green line. That's the signal that says you're satisfied. But we produce this enzyme called DPP4 that breaks that line. In less than 2 minutes, the feeling of being satisfied drops back down to non-existent. Now, what Dr. Prasad did with GLP-1 Boost, he added DPP4 inhibitors to it. So now it can't block that line. It can't cut that line. So at the 2-minute point where it would normally be cutting the line, GLP-1 Boost triggers that you're satisfied earlier, and that feeling of being satisfied lasts longer. Now, what does that translate into? It's that it's the IF word, intermittent fasting. So this makes it easier to do that. So again, we're not trying to tell anybody to starve themselves or anything like that. But GLP-1 boost, micro daily, all parts of this, of the GLP-1 core 4, help make the process easier. Does that make sense? It can be done even without it, but it certainly makes it doable. It makes it possible to do it without biting your fingernails off, or eating somebody alive in your house. This is another slide. We had this like a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about autism because it's the GLP-1 hormone that also makes you, want or crave social engagement. So in someone who's autistic, they have trouble with that GLP-1 hormone, and DPP-4 is destroying it. And so this kind of gives you an idea of exactly what's happening. So it's the same as the previous slide, only just a different angle that you're looking at it. You're looking at that copper star spiky thing. That's the DPP-4, and it's breaking up the GLP-1 hormone. But the DPP-4 inhibitors, which is amla fruit and white tea extracts, blocks the DPP-4 from having any effect whatsoever on the GLP-1. So once you trigger it, by the way, the new dosage now is, instead of 2 capsules per day, Dr. Prasad recommends just once a day, 3 capsules before your main meal. So my suggestion, if we're going to be talking about, advanced fasting techniques in part 3 of our discussion, but I'm just going to give you a basic idea right now. If you want to try to be available for part 4 when we get to tell testimonials, because this is part 1. We got part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Part 4 is going to be testimonials, and we're going to just have it so you can just tell your story. And I know that there's going to be a ton of them, especially if you start today doing what is suggested. So here's what you should do if you want to, get involved in this. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about the protocol toward the end of our discussion, because it's not very difficult at all. It's all about how and when you decide to eat, and what you decide, the process that you decide to go for. So a coordinated biological strategy to eliminate visceral fat. So the systemic switch, intermittent fasting. Okay, so this is all about the pancreas and the bloodstream. So this drops the baseline insulin level, locks fat storage, unlocks fat storage, and initiate fat burning ketosis. Okay, so step 1, how do you do that? Systemic switch, flip that switch. First thing in the morning, grab yourself a glass of water with about 16 to 20 ounces of water. Put 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in it. Squeeze in there about the juice of about a half a lemon in there. You can sweeten it up if you want to with a little stevia. And then drink that down. That should go in your mouth as soon as you get up in the morning. And you actually will find yourself not really being super hungry. It will knock that out, because your stomach will calm itself down, and you won't be terribly interested in anything food related. Breakfast is my favorite food personally, but almost immediately I find myself getting back to work and forgetting about eating, because ordinarily I'd be just ready to start cracking some eggs, and I would buy packages of bacon all the time, and I didn't have it every day, but that was part of what I liked. But I found myself simply not automatically going in that direction. It changed. So you'll find yourself maybe eating a little later in the day. You maybe get yourself a little snack if you want, like an apple or something, around 10 or 11 o'clock, but you may not even want that. Target your first meal to be somewhere around midday. So this is in the beginning stages. Okay, so we're just talking about early stages now. Target your first meal to be around midday, and have it as few carbs as you possibly can. So just try to cut out the carbs, because remember, industrial starches is hidden in there. Maltodextrin is hidden in there. So have it mainly clean protein and veggies if you can do that. All right, so that would be your ideal thing. And you need some fat. You need to have some good fats, good fats, like avocado is a great source of fat. Your omega-3 would be also considered a fat by your body. So take your omega-3 and your GLP-1 boost at the same time, about 30 minutes before time it, about 30 minutes before you're going to eat. Earlier in the eating process, your brain's going to say, I've had enough. And you literally may not even be able to finish eating what you ordinarily would eat. I personally just found my portion size has just started shrinking, not because the food wasn't there, I just didn't want it anymore. So after a while, about halfway through the plate, I was just putting it away back in the refrigerator or throwing it out. So you'll find it to happen. It may not be the first day, but you will find that to start to happen. Okay. Then the second box, that's your main meal. You'll find that to be the case, and you'll still find that to be the case even at dinner, if you want to eat at all. What happened to me was my lunch and my dinner started becoming one meal. When I ate lunch, and if I ate dinner, I felt like I was a pig. I started feeling like I was a pig, like I had gorged myself on a cruise ship. So I decided, okay, let me just eat once instead of eating twice, once at 12 or 1 o'clock, and then again at 5 or 6 o'clock. I said, well, let me just move that to like 3 or 4. And little by little, sure enough, I started eating around 4, 5, or 6, and sometimes 7 o'clock, just one time a day. That's what gradually happened to me. Okay, so I didn't set out to do intermittent fasting. So let me just make that clear to everybody on this call. I did not set out to do intermittent fasting. I got okey-doked into it. My body simply no longer demanded eating constantly. It just stopped. And your liver is going to reward you by releasing ketones. I've never felt mentally better in my entire life. I probably did, but now looking back in retrospect, I've been being hijacked. I've been sabotaged for the past several years, however many years it's been. So now my brain is feeling phenomenal. I look forward to exercising. A couple of days ago, I wanted to go jogging. I don't do that now. I will not do that. I'm too old for that. I'm 64. So it's going to take a long time before my body gets reconditioned to go jogging. But that's how I felt. I wanted to go jogging. So, but now I do have a good, healthy exercise routine. If I have time, I'll tell you guys about that toward the end. Second box, the cellular fire extinguisher. Okay. Cellular fire extinguisher. Remember, stored fat is on fire. It's a dumpster fire. The stored fat, the visceral fat, is metabolically alive. It is not your friend. When it got stored away, whatever toxic environment you were in at the time has stored with it. So its toxins are going to come out. Microdaily is your key. So make sure that you're taking your microdaily twice a day. So you can do that, at breakfast time in the morning, if you want. If you do it early in the morning, well, my recommendation is going to be just to do it right there with that lunch meal, with the fats, the healthy fats that you're going to be taking. So take your microdaily first, then you can drop that omega-3, 2 of those down, and then take the GLP-1 boost right at the same time. All 3 of them, just take it all right there at the same time, because the omega-3 will serve as the fats for your microdaily. So you're getting massive amounts of nutrients right there. And that calms down all that toxic fire that the visceral fat is kicking out on you. Then the bottom box, they'll talk about the hormonal satiety shield. So you'll feel satisfied earlier in the processes, earlier in the eating process. So this new and improved GLP-1 boost, it's the real deal, folks. That's all I can tell you. Dr. Prasad knocked it out the park. So we thought it was phenomenal back, a year ago when he first released it? No, there was this couple things in there that just, it didn't have the DPP-4 inhibitors in there. It's in the collagen peptide, but it was not in the GLP-1 boost. That's where it needs to be. Dr. Prasad put it in there. And it blocks the DPP-4 from destroying the GLP-1 that your body is producing earlier in the eating process. This is a war that you can win. If you want to win, this will do it for you. There's no question about it. There's no doubt in my mind anymore. So take a screenshot of this if you want. This is the GLP-1 Core 4 bundle, and this is your ticket to winning the war against visceral fat. This is your ticket. Now, the entire bundle costs $306 plus shipping and tax. The retail price of that would be $400 or $500, and if you try to buy all the ingredients, you're looking at well over a couple $1,000. If you just try to buy the ingredients and put the formula together yourself, it would be far more expensive. And if we tried to buy each of these products wholesale ourselves, it would be about $360 or so, $360, $370, something like that. But as a bundle, Engage Global has reduced the price so that it's within reach. The Core 4 by itself is about $205. The GLP-1 added to the bundle is an extra $99. So that's why you got the $306 there. So put this on subscription, and you're 90 days away from seeing several inches being gone off your gut, several inches gone off your gut. And you'll see numbers on the scale that you haven't seen in a long time. I'm fitting back in the suits that I wore a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that I have not been able to get in. So my body has changed, and I just started the process about 6 weeks ago. Has it been 6 weeks? It hasn't even been 6 weeks. It's only been about 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks, and it's been quite a trip for me. I'm going to pause here for a second. No, not here. I'm going to pause in just a minute. For those of you who are wondering what you personally can do, just get back with the person who invited you to this discussion, and they will guide you as to what to do, how to put the order in, exactly which items, because you can, maybe even reduce the cost if this is too much for you. You don't want to buy everything, then maybe you can eliminate the collagen. Maybe you can, really, there's not much here you can eliminate. You need the omega-3. You need the probiotic. You need the micro daily. You need the GLP-1 boost. And in my personal opinion, you need the collagen also, because as you start losing weight, your skin is going to start trying to go back to normal. The collagen gives it the structural integrity, so it's not just saggy, floppy skin. Collagen is going to help keep everything nice and tight, and for your body to just simply go back to normal. So I don't recommend eliminating anything here, but the only thing that you can maybe skip would be the collagen, but everything else, you need it. Okay, so that's all I got to say about that one. So just do the best you can, and but talk with the person who invited you, and they will help you with that. The additional thing, last thing I've got to say on this topic, we're going to see if any of you have some questions, and maybe we can share one testimonial. I think Tammy's on the line. We want to just share her story. This gives you a taste of the testimonies that are going to be coming in part 4. So we'll have Tammy share her story, and that will give you an idea of that this is real. This is not just a one-off. It's just not one man that this has worked for. We have a woman who has been fighting the situation for quite some time, and now she's got massive success that she didn't even know she was going to get. So Tammy will tell her story here in a minute. But get moving, folks. Get up off the couch. And I can't say this enough. Don't expect a pill, potion, or lotion to do for you what you could do for yourself. You got to get moving. The longer we sit, the second thing that I think is actually killing us, besides visceral fat being deadly, is being motionless. So get walking. If you can't walk, then crawl. Do whatever you need to do, but start doing some laps, start getting some steps in, and get moving. Gravity is really nice. If all you can do is stand in one place and tiptoe and go back up and down, let gravity work for you. You have to get your lymphatic system moving. Get some assistance to get walking. Even if you're using a walker, get walking. And if you can get some sun, even better. Vitamin D3 from the sun, the natural vitamin D3 from the sun, is incredibly beneficial and valuable. And so next week, we're going to be talking about stress, cortisol, and cortisol belly. So we're gonna dive into this just a little bit more. When I say declaration of war against visceral fat, I absolutely mean it. So there's other things that you can do to stop this from happening. Okay, so we'll talk about that and give you even more tips as to what you can do to win in this war against visceral fat. So let's pause here for a second. Tammy, if we got you available, are you here? Let's get Tammy to step to the fore. And if she's not here, I'm going to just
I'm
summarize
here.
her story and tell it to you myself.
I'm
Uh,
here.
okay, great, Tammy. Hang on just one second. I don't know if anybody has been typing in some questions or not, and I apologize for that because I can't see it all right now. And normally Bernard is here, um, going through the questions that may be in the chat. So I'll try to get some of those in just a minute. But let's get Tammy here to go ahead and share her story. Where are you, Tammy? There
Can you
you
see
are.
me?
Yes, we're gonna pop you right up here. Just I'm gonna put you on the screen. Just tell her your story, please. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Well, I've been diabetic for a number of years, probably like the last 10 years, and had a tough time with blood sugars and things like that. But when I began this new GLP-1 with the DDP4, I started May 15th. I was 234 pounds and a waistline was 43 inches. And so I normally am not a person that weighs myself on a regular basis, but I kept feeling like something's different. You could feel the way I eat, the way my meals were. I wasn't as hungry. And as a diabetic, they tell you should have 6 small meals a day. But I found that that keeps you snacking all day long. You're never, your sugars are constantly spiking. And so, but once I began this, I weighed myself again on May 29th. I was 229.8 pounds. I had lost an inch around my waist. It was now 42 inches. And my glucose that first time was at 155. I was always waking up with a high number. This day, it was at 130. And then here we go. Another week later, I weighed myself again and I had lost 5 pounds within that 2 weeks. So, and had started getting a lot of energy, which was like really amazing. But I still kept, checking. And like I said, I don't normally weigh myself, but because I kept feeling something was changing in me and I was excited and full of energy, I weighed myself again, lost another inch off my waistline. So now here we're in the third week. And just this past Saturday morning, I weighed myself, my glucose. I was just blown away. My weight was 225.4 pounds. My waist was now 41 inches. And my blood sugars, my glucose was 96. And I'm on the core four with the GLP-1. And yeah, I'm just totally blown away. So in a matter of 3 weeks, I've lost 9.5 pounds. And I am just ecstatic. I get up and walk every morning. In fact, what Jonathan said about the exercise, some mornings I got to tell myself, you know what you need to do, so get up and do it. I don't even have to do that with this. I am so energized. I get up in the morning, get my workout clothes on, and I have a school behind my house, and I walk around that and I do anywhere from 2 to 3 miles in the morning. And I feel so great. I come in the house, get showered, and I'm ready to tackle the day full of energy. And then that eating, you almost forget to eat. You've taken your GLP-1, with your omega, and then I take it before I do my walk so that when I come back, I tell myself, okay, now it's time to eat something. But I get in the shower, get going, and you don't even think about it. And then I say, oh, you know what? You're still diabetic. You still got to take your medicine, So then I make myself eat something. But I love having 2 pieces of toast and tea in the morning. And now I just want one piece of toast. And this morning I wanted no toast. So, and then my tea, I always like putting organic, something in their sweetener. I've gotten where I want nothing in it. I just want the black tea itself, and some whipping cream in it, and that's about it. But I am really amazed. And today at my meeting, an older sister said, "Girl," she said, "you look like you fell off." And I said, "Something in me, something has fallen off." So I am really, really excited about this. It truly is a game changer, and it it motivates you when you see it. And like I said, I'm not a person that normally weigh myself. I weighed myself because I was asked to, kind of keep a diary of what was happening with me. And this is mind blowing.
Tammy, that's phenomenal. You want to just repeat basically what your schedule is for eating?
So in the morning, I get up and I, I wasn't sure about this, but it's just me. I have my little water bottle already made up with my vinegar and my lemon in it and a little bit of Celtic salt. And it's cold. And I take that along with my 3 GLP-1, my Omega. And then I take a walk. And when I come back from that walk, it's usually a half hour, 45-minute walk, depending on how many miles I do. And when I come back in, that's when, you're supposed to half hour later eat something. I got to make myself eat something. So I wasn't into avocado toast, but but now I just like to spread it on there and usually I love butter, but I spread it on there and eat that down. And I drink a cup of bone broth because I'm not a big breakfast person. So I'm not like having 3 eggs or something, but I will have a cup of bone broth to give me that protein, but I have the fat and a little bit of carb. And then after that, I take the rest of my micro daily supplements. And then I may have an apple if I remember that it already cut it, it's in my bag, my little backpack for my ministry. Tell myself, oh, you got a snack in here, eat this apple or something. But some days I find myself not have even eaten the apple. And like you, Jonathan, by the time you realize that, oh, you need to eat something, it's way past lunch and almost dinner time. And you say, you know what, let's just do this one and done. And then after I've had that meal, I have my little vinegar water again with the lemon in it and a pinch of Celtic salt. And that's it. I'm done until it's time to take my micro daily for the, later in the evening. And that's it. And I'm not starved. I'm not shaking, but my blood sugars are on point. That is mind blowing because that's my goal. Get off of that metformin, that Jardiance, glipizide, and they've already adjusted my diabetic medicine. They've already adjusted. She has me turning it in now. Since all of this, every other week, I have to submit the new numbers. And when I do that, she adjusts the medication.
That's powerful. I want everybody to do what Tammy's doing now. Write down your total amount of weight that you're losing, because during this month that we've declared war on visceral fat, I'd like to be able to say, okay, what is our total number? What is our total number? And like for you, Tammy, and me, we can count the numbers that we lost heading into this month, because we were doing this in the month of May. So, but I intend to lose another 10 pounds. So I'm going down further, and I'm on track, for that very easily. It's effortless is the weird part about it. I haven't eaten anything today except some pecans. And that's not me. For everybody on this line right now, I'm telling you right now, that's not me. I've only eaten some pecans today. That's it. I have a little bag of them right here, and that's a healthy nut that is okay to eat. So I know Joanna's probably cooked something in there, and I'll probably eat it in about another half an hour or so. But that's what's been happening. So Tammy has adjusted her schedule according to her. So what I told you guys earlier was what was for me. I'm not a diabetic, so I could do that and not have anything, but she had to have something first thing in the morning. So she slid her micronutrients to the morning. Then she would go for her walk and found herself not being hungry at lunchtime. So for me, I just obliterated breakfast and just shot straight to lunch. And now I'm shooting past lunch and going right into dinner and doing one time. That's it. So that's what's happening to me. So you can adjust this accordingly. Put a link to our GLP support group. Tammy's in that chat also on WhatsApp. So you guys can click on that link if you want to get in WhatsApp, and we can talk for days. We can just tell you what's going on with us, but I guarantee you you're going to want to get on and ride this pony, because this summer is different. You're going to come away from this summer down at your goal weight. What's your goal? How many pounds you looking to lose total, Tammy?
Well, my initial goal is I have not been the number on my driver's license in probably 20 years.
You're going back to the driver's license
Well,
number.
that driver's license number puts me at 200. I used to be 286 pounds. So I worked hard, but it was an effort to just get down to that, 234.
Yeah.
But now this is a game changer. This is coming quickly. And I'm exercising, doing weights and stuff just to stay strong and everything. But I want to hopefully see 180. Okay. 180 is a goal for me. 180.
Okay. All right. Well, we're with you on that one, and we'll help you ride that all the way down to 180. And we will be talking about making sure that we don't lose muscle. Okay. So that's going to be part of our discussion, is not losing muscle. This is a war on visceral fat, which is meaning being metabolically healthier, not going in the wrong direction. So this is going to change everything for everybody. So several questions have come up. How much weight have you lost total, Tammy, so far?
9.5 pounds. Yes.
In how many weeks?
3 weeks.
In 3 weeks' time. Okay. So we're going to keep track, and everyone else here can keep track. I know some of you got some stories that you're going to want to share, and I know you got tons and tons of questions. We got 3 weeks, 3 more weeks to go. So next week, like I said, we're going to be talking about stress, cortisol, and cortisol belly. And if you guys join the WhatsApp chat group, then you're going to be able to ask more questions, and we will be doing what we can to support you for the entire month. Thank you guys very much for joining us. If you know someone who could have benefited from this discussion, send them the recording. Send them a link to the recording. It's on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jonathan Jones. Just go to the live section. You can send them a link to that, and make sure that you invite them next week. They will thank you for it. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. So we'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys very much again for joining us.